Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Sergeant Be Safe here, and I'm stuck in the office. I'm stuck. You want to know why? I'll be completing reports for stolen vehicles. Yeah, that's right, stolen vehicles. I tell people all the time to lock their doors and put away their valuables. However, this continues to happen. Do you know that about approximately 95% of all auto thefts can be prevented? Here, let's go for a walk and I'll show you a few examples. Example number 1. You go to the store and you leave your car running. Little do you know that Chance Wilder's on the prowl. He sees your car running with the door unlocked, gets in it,
and they're off! Have to start.
Oh no!
Frustrating. Let's move on to example number 2. You're at home and the car's parked for the day. But you feel safe and secure and believe this could never happen to me. And there's Rob You Blind going from car to car. Just got caught though.
Poopa, be safe.
Hands up. You're coming with me.
Ooh.
People leave their car doors unlocked, and believe it or not, their keys in them. Here's video footage of someone going onto someone's driveway and entering their car, and guess what? Stealing that too. Even if you don't keep your car key, don't keep your spouse's key in the vehicle either. Believe it or not, they park right beside you. So therefore, take the extra step, lock your vehicle, and take your keys inside. So here's a little bit of information for you. If your car is ever stolen, and then I find it and recover it, it's usually not in the same condition that it once was. It could have been involved in a motor vehicle accident because of joyriding, or just have more dents, scratches, and damage on it. You'll get an incident report and a tow bill. Your insurance company may cover the towing and recovering fee, but you could also have to come out of pocket with some extra expenses. So now let's move on to example number 3. Parking lots at major businesses are prime targets. Lock your doors, put valuables away, park in well-lit areas, and definitely do not, I cannot stress it any harder, leave your vehicle running in the parking lot. Because no matter how many times Rob You Blind and Wild Chance go to jail, they will always take advantage of a prime opportunity to take your valuables or steal your vehicle. Don't be an easy target. Hands up, you both are coming with me. Ooh. These are just a few examples of how you can protect yourself and be vigilant with your property. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Tilman. He is a son, a father, a brother, a law officer, an accomplished officer.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys for tuning in. You are in the lab that is now called Black and Blue. We've been Black and Blue for over a year now, where we highlight individuals who are on the job of law enforcement, whether they're rookie, whether they're seasoned, whether they're retiree, and their experiences and things that they have going on right now. I'm your host, Coach Clee, your cop's cop. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a great show ahead of us today. I got somebody very important backstage. We got him on at a great time because he's kind of under the weather, but he thought it not robbery for him to come on this podcast and share what he's got going on and share his experiences with us. And we'll get to that in a minute. We got to get a shout out to the sponsors that are on here. You see them in the description box. You also see them in the comment section. First and foremost, we got MG4 Tech. Merrick Green, he's on here. If you need anything done digitally, whether you have a podcast yourself, whether you have a website, whether you need content done, he's the guy to reach out to. The website's right there below. Check him out and check out some of his products that he's put out for other people. He does tremendous work. Also, a sponsor of the show, One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing, their motto is they can turn a mere thought and turn it into a book that's bought. Like you see behind me, there's a couple books that I wrote myself, and there's a couple books that other clients have come through the process with and got it done. They can take a mere thought and turn it into a book that's bought. That's tremendous. A lot of people want to get their information out there. A lot of people have great content, and that's one resource that you can use to get your content out there. Also, a sponsor, Sergeant Be Safe. You'll see a couple of these cartoon commercials still advocating for voice talents. If anyone wants a voice talent, use the website. Oh, it's not scrolling below. It'll be scrolling there in a minute. Use the website below, and it's also in the comment section. We will get that information out there. And this show is live. Okay, so if you have any questions, or you're just looking for a shout out, make sure you put your name and where you're from in the comment section, and we will give you that shout out that you're looking for. All right. If you have your questions, put them up on the comment section. They will be gotten to and acknowledged as well. But we got to give a shout out once again to the sponsor and one of the books that One Way Publishing has put forth. So stay tuned. Here comes Sergeant Be Safe.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Be Safe. One Way Publishing is the sponsor for the podcast Black and Blue. And these books behind me are a few of the books that are on their website. Check out the latest one, The Lab Part 2. It just came out. It's a compilation of former guests that were on the show. But make sure you tune into the podcast. That way you can see cartoons of me giving out safety tips on how you can be safe. See for yourself. Go to the website, workwithclee.com.
Subscribe now.
And you see the name below, Troy Smith. He hails from, correct me if I'm wrong, San Antonio, Texas. Currently a deputy chief over the support division of Bexar. Correct me if I'm wrong if I mispronounce that county. Constable Precinct number 4. He's got over 33 years of experience in law enforcement, and his website will be scrolling below, the winnerscircletactical.com, and I'll have that scrolling to check out many programs and many trainings that they have going on. But first and foremost, and last but not least, I will bring him to the stage. Sergeant Be Safe is going to welcome.
Hello, this is Sergeant Be Safe, and I want to welcome all you viewers and our very special guest to Black and Blue. So get your questions ready and enjoy the show.
Film Pack. Subscribe now.
And without further ado, I'm going to bring him to the stage. Give me one moment, Troy. Let him pull him to the screen. Troy, are you there?
I'm here, brother. I'm here. Welcome.
Yeah. How you doing today?
Man, I tell you what, I was sitting backstage and I was looking at all the stuff that had gone on in your world, man, and I was impressed. You know, and I saw that you follow your father's footsteps.
Yep. Second
Yeah.
generation cop. Yes, I
Same
am.
here. My father was the chief of police in New Jersey, man, and I
Okay.
never thought I would do that. And lo and behold, what did I end up doing?
I understand. Trust me, I understand. I get it.
I don't regret it. I don't regret it.
I appreciate your service, and I appreciate the things you have done and the things that you are doing right now. We're going to jump into that. I'm gonna go ahead. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? So those of you who are jumping on for the first time or don't know who Troy is, you know, it's a foundational question. He can explain a little bit about his background.
Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in New Jersey called Pennsgrove, exit 1 for you Jersey people. My father was the chief of police, and I always said I was never going to be like him. I wanted to be hard in the streets, me and my brother. And lo and behold, an old man told me one day when I was trying to play football, I walked away, I quit because everybody was telling me, you know, you should be a running back like your dad. He was so good and everything. And I didn't want to do nothing like him. So I ended up walking away and quitting. And I was walking down the street and this old man told me I'm a quitter. He says, a quitter never wins and a winner never quits. And he said, right now, son, you're a quitter. He changed my life because he made me decide to go to college. I ended up going to Grambling State University. And while I was there, man, I was watching this 12-year-old kid fly an airplane. And I wanted to do that. So I learned how to fly airplanes while I was there, man. And then when I got out of college, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that was amazing.
Yeah, it was a blessing, you know, because I realized doing that was showing me that there was nothing that I couldn't do if I didn't put my mind to it.
Right.
When you've heard all your life that you're never going to be anything, you know, you're probably going to be dead or in prison by the time you're 18, and you make it out. And my brother also made it out. He retired as a chief master sergeant in the military. And I laugh right now. And every time I go visit him or he comes here to visit me, we go out on the golf course and play around the golf. And I look at him. I said, man, look at us. 2 knuckleheads from a small town in New Jersey that everybody said wasn't going to be nothing. We're out here playing golf.
Amazing.
So I was fortunate enough, you know, during my career that an opportunity presented itself here in San Antonio, Texas, to apply for the police department. And they had 3,500 people applying for 100 positions that day.
Yeah.
From all over the country.
Yeah.
And I felt like one of those positions was going to be mine. And actually took the test and ended up passing. And before I know it, almost a year later, I joined the police department. I was able to get on the PD and I was the class president, man. I was surprised. I'm competitive, very competitive. So once I started doing that, my first year I was involved in a shooting. Guy pulled a gun on me and I was involved in the shooting, and you know, I made it through that. And I realized that the community that I was serving, they didn't have much in their community. It was a lot of housing projects, and they started this new program called Park and Walk. So my partner and I, this guy that came out of class ahead of me, he and I ended up being partners, and he had been shot in the first year in a separate incident. And he and I joined up together as Park and Walk. We had to get out of the car in the housing projects and walk for 5 hours. It was a 10-hour shift. Wow. So we walked the whole 10 hours. The very first day, we caught some kids breaking windows. And I said, why are you guys doing that? They go, sir, ain't nothing to do out here. So the next day I brought a basketball to work. And we started the kids playing a little basketball. They had a little basketball court. We started a little basketball game. I went to the little mom and pop stores and says, hey, can y'all give me $50? And they probably thought it was a shakedown at first.
Probably scared of the submission.
Yeah. So they gave me the $50 and I went and bought some shirts with the store's name on it and gave them to the kids. And we started a little basketball program in the housing projects. And I told the kids, I said, hey, that's your store. Don't let nobody tag it. And so all that stopped. The community started rallying behind it. And then I knew about the police athletic league. So I talked to the chief of police and says, hey, we'd like to do this. He said, Troy, we don't have any money, but you and Ruben go ahead and do it.
Okay.
So we started it, and the first person on our board was David Robinson's father.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so once he got on the board, I ended up getting the top 20 businesses on the board, and we never had to worry about money. All we had to do was run the programs.
Okay.
Did that for 7 years, and then after that, I decided it was time to go into I wanted to change up and went to special ops and thought I was going to be a SWAT operator, but ended up becoming a hostage negotiator.
I heard about that. I had a former friend and coworker on the show a few months back doing the same thing.
Yeah, Barbara. Yeah, good friend. Her and I used to do it together. She had more time than I did. I did 7 years. I had what they called a 7-year itch. Every 7 years seemed like I wanted to do something different. So I did it for 7 years. Was involved in over 300 call-ups, and when I retired, I had done the talking on 278, and I had never lost a hostage situation.
Oh, congratulations!
And so, like I said, I'm competitive, bro. Competitive. So as time went on, I ended up going undercover. Barbara and I worked undercover together. We did a lot of stuff together. And then I finished my career assigned to the United States Marshal Service.
Okay.
I did that. And then I went in the private sector for a while. I thought that was going to be, the end all, tell all, be all. But, 5 years into it, I realized I'd rather be back in law enforcement, man, than the private sector. It's more cutthroat than it is in law enforcement.
Wow.
So I ended up going back, as a reserve deputy chief for the constable's office. It's called Bexar County. It's spelled crazy. And we actually have the first African-American female constable in Bexar County.
Okay.
So
well, thank you for the correction on the enunciation of the county.
Yeah, no. So nobody gets it right, man. I didn't get it right when I first got here. So now that's a little bit about me. And during that process, something happened in Baltimore with Freddie Gray, when Freddie Gray was killed. And I had a nephew that was telling me about it, how many times he got stopped. And I figured, man, I have to go do something. So I went up to Baltimore in 2016, and me and another guy that I know, we ended up starting a program called Walk a Mile in My Shoes. And we went to a historically Black college, Coppin State University. And on the 1-year anniversary of Freddie Gray's death, we had 350 community members.
Oh, wow. Okay.
200 police officers, mostly white, and 200 Black college students trained together for 3 days. It was an overwhelming success, man.
I bet.
Nobody expected it. The media came out when they realized that it wasn't negative or violent. Then they said it wasn't no story here. And I said, see, in that moment, I realized that if you're not showing negative stuff, it's not going to be newsworthy most of the time.
Yeah. It gets passed by. I understand.
Yeah. But, we did it, and we were proud of that program. And we ended up bringing it back to San Antonio, and we're doing it here. We're actually working on trying to get it in 4 cities right now.
Okay.
Yeah, working with 4 cities. And I currently work for a company called the Black Swan Group. We're all former hostage negotiators. This guy that was a former FBI hostage negotiator, him and his son figured out a way to use these skills to work in the business world to help businesses negotiate contracts. And they brought us on board, and it's just been an overwhelming success, man. And so now they're willing to get behind what I'm doing. They said they want to get back to the community. So they're helping me stand it up in 4 different cities so that we can make a difference between the lives of police officers and the lives of the community. I think it's everybody's under stress and under pressure right now.
Yeah, I believe that.
And so you get filled with the negative, and neither side know what to do. So what we do is bring them together, make the police the community, make the community the police, so each side can see how they see them treat them. And then we have a difficult conversation. We sit down, have lunch, chop it up a little bit. They get to tell their side. Then we run them through scenarios, and they get to see how difficult it is. We don't just do scenarios that show the community how tough it is to be a police officer. We do scenarios that show police officers how tough it is to live in the community.
Both
and
sides.
When it gets done, both sides, both sides get a better understanding. And man, and I hear the officers say all the time, man, these kids are just like my kids. And I hear the kids in the community saying, man, he remind me of my uncle. And then that relationship's built.
That's good to have that positive interaction and that feedback.
Yeah. I know when we were off stage, I told you a little story about my grandson. And he, they live in a rough neighborhood, man. And they would get stopped a lot by the police, and he got killed in an accident, a traffic accident, about 3 weeks ago. And
my condolences.
I appreciate it, man. And so I tell you what made me proud to have been a police officer for the San Antonio Police Department and have done Walk a Mile in My Shoes with the community is somebody called the police on him because they were sending balloons up in the air for his birthday, his 21st birthday.
Mhm.
And you know, there's haters.
Yeah, yeah.
So somebody called the police saying that they were being loud, and the video showed all they was doing was putting balloons up, letting balloons, releasing balloons in the air. So two officers came by, and normally it escalates. You know, the officers
Mhm.
are gonna get out the car, the community's hurt. You know, they're devastated because of my grandson, so they're not going to talk right to the police officers. The
Right.
police officers are going to get offended. It's going to escalate.
It'd be a bad
Well,
day. Yeah.
yeah. But my daughter, she said to the officer, she goes, "Look, my son died in a car accident, and we're just celebrating his 21st birthday. He would have been 21 today."
Mhm.
And the officers did something that showed me, man, that made me proud as can be to have been a San Antonio police officer.
Oh yeah.
They
What's up?
drove back down the street, and they came down the street with their lights and sirens on, and he came over to PA, and he said, "Aaron, rest in peace."
Nice.
My daughter, her whole mindset changed in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
from being angry to being humbled by the respect that they showed her.
Right.
And they sent me the video.
Okay.
And I was so proud of that. I said, man, if we could do more of that, let people realize that the community, we're here to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they're going to have a difficult time. If you could just show an ounce of kindness, you'll be amazed at how you become their police officers.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, they were her officers. If they have to go in the community next week and do something, she know that they're going to do the right thing. If they have to arrest somebody and it turns into a fight, she know that they're not doing it just because they can, but because that's what it led to.
Right.
And I said, these officers may not realize in that moment how valuable that little gesture was.
Mm-hmm.
But good news travels fast, bad news travels faster.
Yeah.
And for her to start telling the people in the community how those officers treated her in that moment, the community started realizing that all officers are not buttholes or negative. In every profession, you got your good and your bad.
Right.
In the community, in the police departments, you have your good and your bad. And these officers, they just, man, they made me proud in that moment. And every day now, I'm looking at that video. I'm going to find those two officers, and I'm going to personally thank them.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I'm glad that she got to experience that positive interaction, because that gesture, like you said, which is probably a minute long in itself, is going to have a generational, lasting impression on a lot of people.
Yeah. And I was just proud and amazed that those officers cared enough to do that in that moment. Something that didn't take much time at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw the balloons in the air, so they knew that that's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, I'm very proud of those officers in that moment, and I'm going to find them and I'm going to let them.
Gotcha. You went down a long list of wonderful, positive things that have happened, and the website scrolling below, winnercirclets.com. If you go to that website, does it explain some or most of the situations that you've explained, that you've discussed with us so far, or is there more to the website than we already know about?
Yeah, no, on the website, if you go into the website, you'll see video of the community and the police training together. You'll hear their testimonies, not ours. We always say it's easy for us to sit back and tell us, oh, how great we are, or how much better we are than a slice of bread. But it's a different thing when the community is saying that and when law enforcement is saying that. Because whenever we set up one of these training programs, both sides are nervous. The officers are worried about they're going to just get, cussed at and talked down to, and the community think that it's a setup, that they're going to get arrested, that they're trying to arrest them, and if they say anything out of line, everybody's going to get their panties in the wad or whatever. And then when they actually get in the room and have that conversation, they realize, man, that as long as you're not arguing and hollering at each other, people are listening to the other side. You may not agree with it, but you say, you know what, I'm willing to hear your side. And the community says it, and the police say it. And so I laugh about it, because I see the scenarios we do, and how the community, they realize how much more difficult it is than what they see.
Right. So when you set up these training situational scenarios, it's a safe zone. How often do you have these trainings, at least per month or a week or year, or how often is that scheduled?
So we were relying on funding, and we had several companies that donated a little bit of money, and we were able to go out and the money would run out pretty quickly, because what we do with the funds is, you know, we give them shirts, and this is one of the shirts. It has a different letter. I just showed you the shirt, and and that's their ticket to get in for the year. So everybody, the police officers, the community, get a shirt when they go through the program, and then there's a QR code on the back. They can scroll on it, they can click on it, and they can see what activities we have coming up. Because after we actually do the training sessions, we actually do a community-based activity. Like we'll go to Top Golf, we'll take over Top Golf, and the police and the community will hit golf balls together, and they'll get to have that one-on-one conversation with the police officer, 4 or 5 people. And they'll get to see them acting up, cutting up. The community police will get to see them cutting up, and everybody's having fun, and it works. It just works. And so throughout the year, as long as they have their shirt on, they can go to all the activities we have, because everybody wears the same shirt, but it's different letters. It spells the word respect. So they actually have to find 6 other people with the different letters to spell the word respect, and whoever can do it the most times and know something about the other people that they're talking to, they win a gift card.
Wow, that's creative. I like that. So it forces you to be social and learn about other people.
Yeah, and we all look alike because we all got on a black shirt with the white letters that says a T, RESPECT. Each one of them is a different letter. So now they have to go and communicate with somebody they normally wouldn't talk to. Sometimes they don't even know if it's a police officer. So it works out. And then throughout, we've done about 3,000 people so far. And so that was going back to the question you asked me, how often do we do it? Coming up in 2023, with the help of the company that I work for, the Black Swan Group, my goal is to do it in 4 cities, 8 months, for 8 months, every week in one of the cities. Every city, the 4 cities will have 8 sessions, and then the police officers will keep it going. And then, every quarter we'll have all the cities doing the same thing, like taking over a bowling alley. And let everybody bowl and have fun, and we pay for everything. We pay for that. We pay for the food, because a lot of these community members don't get to eat, especially when they're out of school.
Right.
And it's amazing, because we've had people from age 70 on down going through the training, and they love it. It's not just the younger generation. We have middle-aged people, and we have the elderly coming out, and they all enjoy it when they get a chance to spend time with the officer and get to know their officer.
Yeah, I believe it. Not just walk a mile in my shoes. I went to the website. I saw that you guys have drug interdiction, mental health crises, and active shooters, and so many different things along there. How do you bring in instructors, or do you have former law enforcement officers that kind of give scenarios, or how do those classes or trainings work?
Yeah, we work with the different agencies that do that. There's different people that have set up these kind of courses and stuff, and we just bring them in. You don't want to be a jack of all trades. You want to use the people who have the most experience, so that everybody get the best training possible. And so over the 33 years, I built relationships with a lot of different law enforcement agencies, and even community drug interdiction people, from the civilian side, because we're not all knowing, and we bring them in, and I tell them all, just know that it's going to be raw. They can ask you whatever they want to ask you. Be used to that. Get used to that. Yeah. And they do. And then they're surprised at some of the questions that come out. But if somebody's asking, they normally really want to know. That's what makes it work.
Yeah. And if one person's asking it, at least 5 other people are thinking it anyway.
Yep. Yeah. So and
and
that's how we do things. We have a structure, but it's loose. I don't have no PowerPoint presentation that's so regimented that you got to sit there and listen to stuff that you don't want to listen to. We talk about the topic of the day. For a while, we were talking about George Floyd. We talk about what's going on in the world today. I laughed because we had a scenario where this one young lady told me, she said, yeah, you cops just always, you get caught on camera, and then you want to try to make like, it really wasn't what it was. I said, it's not always what it is. And she goes, yeah, I knew you would say that. Now, if I could tell her that, and right away she's still, believing that this cop is saying that because he don't want to tell the truth.
Right.
So I have a smell machine. So I could make it smell like McDonald's, marijuana, whatever. So I go in this room and I make it smell like marijuana. I make her an officer, and I have a real officer as her cover, and everybody else in the classroom is the community. And we give them a SIRT pistol. Is all it is a laser, so we can see if they shoot, because they don't ever want to admit it if they shot.
Right.
But it's funny because the community, yes, you did. Yes, you did. You shot. We saw it. We saw it. And she goes, oh, I didn't even know, you know. And that's the intensity of it. So in this particular scenario, I had it smelling like weed, and we sent the officer to tell him, hey, you got to call for loud music. So she knocks on the door, and I just peek the door open a little bit. I go, yeah, what's up? And she goes, we got to call for loud music. I said, girl, ain't no loud music, officer. I said, that's me trying to get on American Idol. Woo-hoo! What is it? She goes, oh, Lord, you ain't going to make it on that show. I said, how you know? So she goes, what's that smell? I go, what smell? She said, it smells like skunk weed. I said, ain't no damn skunk in here. And everybody else recording, oh, look at it, dirty cop, dirty cop. They got their cell phones out, you know, she's getting pressured. And lo and behold, I keep the thing going. So she says, it smells like weed, marijuana. So I open the door and I have some Febreze and I'm spraying myself. I said, I don't smell nothing. So I said, matter of fact, this ain't even my room. I'm out of here. And I started to walk away. And the officer steps in front of me and says, sir, you can't leave right now. We need to get some ID. And she turns to the community, to us, and she says, can we do that? And the officer told her, he says, you better do that. Because he just told you this ain't his room. You got probable cause because it smells like marijuana. And what if you let him go and you don't get any information? And an hour later, the homeowner comes home and says, somebody burglarized my house and took my jewelry and stuff. And you were there, you let him go and didn't get any information.
Yeah.
So she said, that's right. And she pushed me up against the wall. Give me some idea. And I said, harassment, look at her. And so, you know, when we called time out, I had everybody just show the video where she put her hands on me. You know? Yeah. And I said, see, I'm suing you. Look at you. You put your hands on me. And she goes, no, that's not what happened. I said, what do you mean? I said, the camera don't lie. She goes, yeah, but they can't smell the marijuana. They didn't hear that he said that he didn't live in that place. And I just smiled. And then she goes, now I understand. Yep.
It sunk in right there.
Yeah. It became real because she realized that not everything you see is always the way it is. But there's times when it is. I'm not trying to discount the fact that, you know, sometimes we do things that are wrong. In the blink of an eye, you can make a mistake. You know, own it. Yeah. Own it and move on. I think people respect you more when you own it versus trying to cover it up and lie about it.
Yeah. I like the fact that you gave a scenario. You put everyday people in the situation to see how it fully unfolds, as opposed to seeing the 10-second clip of that. You're not there. You don't have all your senses involved. You just have the sense of sound and sight in the video, and for 10 seconds you see it and you get a reaction from that 10-second vehicle, as opposed to a real reaction on all the circumstances that took place leading up to that situation.
Yeah, they live it. They actually live it. In that moment, they're living it. And I always ask them, I said, how did you feel? She goes, man, my heart was racing, you know, and you hear it, and you hear that. And so the officers normally will say, see, she did what we would have done. I said, hold on. I said, this is her first time. Y'all have had 6 months to a year's worth of practice training. So you're not comparing apples to apples. Right. So then I did a scenario for the community where I had two young black males on the ground. We're outside and they're wrestling and stuff, and the two women are sitting up on the porch and they're like, kick his ass, and they get, you know, and the officer drew his weapon. He goes, show me your hands, and he's getting intense. And you know, he was the primary and the civilian was the cover, and they're recording. And I called timeout because it was getting so heated. I said, listen, just put your weapon away, and you know, he couldn't take his hand off his gun. Wow. So I let it go for 2 minutes, and then the two guys got up, and one kid said to the other one, man, next time I get to beat a rock. And he said, they were playing? I said, yeah, you just escalated it because they were playing. And then one of the girls says, oh, if it was serious, man, I ain't gonna let my man get beat. I'm gonna be taking my earrings off. I'm getting in to help, you know. And he started laughing because he realized that he didn't really know the community. Yep. And so they had that conversation, and he said, man, Troy, this is powerful. I said, this is how I save your lives and I save the community's lives, because now y'all get to know each other. And when you get there, they're going to speak to you. You're going to speak to them. You're going to find out what's going on, and both sides are going to be calmer because they know you. They want you to be their police officer.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. It's interesting you say that. I remember a similar scenario a few years ago at a bus stop where we got caught out there for kids fighting and doing certain things. And long story short, when we got there, it was just snowballs, and they were with their cell phones trying to do a rap video. So they were just doing the background scenes for the actual rap video itself. And as soon as the bus came, everything went away. They got on the bus and went to school.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jump in the rap video.
Did I know it was already over? But yeah.
I'd have told him, man, y'all got to give me my 15 minutes of fame. I'm gonna hit you with a couple of doo-wops.
Yeah, nah. You would have been better than me. They would have had me on a filter, and they would have done something to me. I'd look crazy on there. So
me too. That's why I said that's a rap. You know, they would have said that's a rap.
Yeah.
But they would have respected you that you came in there and you realized what was really going on, and you didn't put them in a situation where it escalated.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where we gotta be, man.
We're gonna pause for the calls. We got Sergeant Be Safe, and then we're gonna come back. And there's another topic that we talked about when we were on the phone a few weeks ago that I want to talk about as well. But stand by, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Yo! Disguised as one of Santa's helpers, I'll steal these presents from right under his nose.
Now hold it there, you little fake elf.
Be safe. What are you doing here? I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you.
Sergeant Be Safe, you've been a very good boy this year. Hello, Santa and Robbie Blind. I knew you'd be in this area right about now.
Ooh.
Wow, this is perfect timing. This good family has just returned. It's always a good idea to keep your doors and windows locked when you're not home. Don't give Robbie Blind the advantage. There's very inexpensive cameras and security systems you can set up as well.
Sergeant Be Safe, thank you for coming. We appreciate everything you do. Without you, this holiday season would be ruined.
Wow, thank you, Sergeant Be Safe. You saved the day.
You're welcome, and I'm happy to hear it. You guys enjoy the rest of the day. Santa, you have a safe trip back to the North Pole.
Ooh. Party pooper, be safe.
No gifts for you, Robbie Blind. You'll be put away this holiday season. Sergeant Be Safe wants you and your family to have a safe and enjoyable holiday season. And that's your tip of the day, to have a safe holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Subscribe now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are on Black and Blue. We got Troy Smith right here, and we've been having a total fun and enlightening conversation on so many different scenarios, on his history, on being a police officer, and community engaging policing. That a situation that happened with his grandson and police officers on duty. We learned so much. Right now, I want to talk about, if you remember, when we were on the phone and had our intro, we talked about how you were traveling with a young man who was being deputized from multiple departments throughout this nation. Can you share anything about that experience?
Yeah, his name is DJ Daniels, the VARJ.
Okay.
I met him when our constable, a good friend of mine who's a Christian man, that's a police officer from San Antonio PD, he had come across this young man, and the young man wanted to be sworn in as a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So they found out that he had brain and spine cancer.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
So he's awesome, man. He's a powerful young man. He was in San Antonio, so they told our constable about it, and it just so happened I was coming back from teaching in Dallas. And I
Okay.
land, and and he's getting sworn in, and the constable goes, Troy, I have somebody I want you to meet. And I'm like, look, everything that's going on in Uvalde right now, and I'm going to head out there and see if we can help them out, if there's anything they need from us, and the families. And she goes, yeah. She goes, oh, by the way, one of our deputies, his brother just passed away, so can you get on that? I said, yeah. She goes, but I really need you to meet this person. And I was like, man, I don't need to meet nobody. But I went over there, and there's this little boy in a police uniform, and she swears him in and gives him credentials.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, where's his badge? She goes, I don't have a badge to give him. So I took the badge off that I had on my belt, and I gave it to him. I said, now you're a deputy chief.
Wow.
I said, so you're gonna have to carry yourself like that when you're out in public. And he goes, okay. He goes, I heard you have a program called Walk a Mile in My Shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I do. He says, I would like to do that sometime. Well, I have a son-in-law who makes tennies. He was also with the precinct, the office, and he made him a pair of tennies with his badge, with a badge on it and everything. And he does stuff for some of these NFL players and stuff. So he made a pair of shoes for this little boy. He was all excited.
I bet.
And then the kid says, I heard you can sing. I said, man, who's telling you all this stuff? So this is before I knew his story. So he says, on my day, he turned to his father. He says, on my day, I want him to sing. And I said, on your day? His dad said, you don't know his story? I go, no. He said, he's dying of cancer, brain and spine cancer. And I said, oh, wow. So I knelt down and I hugged him. He hugged me. He says, I love you. I said, I love you too, man. I said, I'm very proud of you. You're a very strong young man. And then I found out he had been sworn in by over 600 law enforcement agencies.
Wow. 600.
To date, it's over 670.
Wow.
So what I'm hoping to do is to try to get him sworn in all 50 states, and then calling the Guinness Book of World Records to see if that's a record. I'd love for him to get sworn in all 50 states. Well, I told you we do programs like Top Golf. We take the community Top Golf and the stuff. And so I had to go to Virginia to teach. So I called his dad and says, hey, can he come to San Antonio and take my place for Top Golf as one of the officers? He says, Troy, I wish he could, but he's going to be getting sworn in on that day. I said, okay. So I realized I had to go to New York a couple of weeks later. And I said, does he just want to get sworn in, or does he really want to do police work? He said, he really want to do police work. I said, okay, I'm going to fly y'all up to New York if your calendar allows it. He goes, yeah. I said, I'm going to take y'all to New York. And so he was thinking I was going to drive. They were going to drive, and they live in Houston. So I said, no, we're going to fly up. Well, a good friend of mine that's a chaplain up there, the chaplain, Reverend Terry Lee, he's in the Flatbush area in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And we met at a police officer's funeral, and he's doing a great thing. So he says, hey, Troy, we're getting ready to have our 25th anniversary, bridging the gap, So I said, well, I want to bring this young man. So lo and behold, he ended up making the young man the Grand Marshal.
Oh, wow.
And this kid had on his NYPD uniform. He's been sworn in by so many agencies, man. He had his NYPD uniform on, and you cannot believe how many people were running around, stopping everywhere just to get his picture. And he did something that reminded me, that life is short, and man, that you just got to live it to the fullest. We were walking, and there was this little boy who had Down syndrome, and his two sisters, and they were clinging to their mom, and the little boy was holding his hands like this. And this kid, DJ, walks up to him, man, with his NYPD uniform on, and says, son, don't be afraid of us. If you need help, we're going to be here for you. And he's patting the kid on the back right now. He ain't no bigger than this kid, man. And so the kid hugs him. And so the two little girls come out, and the mom is like, getting ready to cry because she can't believe these kids are, seeing the police in a different light.
Yeah.
So he turns to the little girls. He goes, man, y'all are such precious little girls. And about that time, he has a blue, a blue training pistol in his holster. So the kid touches his holster, his gun. He smacks his hand and goes, son, that's not a toy. This is a tool that we use. I had to turn away. I was laughing so hard. And I said, man, this kid is a police officer.
The real deal.
Yeah. And everywhere he goes, man, he leaves a lasting impression. I call him love, man, because everywhere he goes, all he does is he creates positive and love between the community and the police.
Mm-hmm. And
DJ Daniel.
Shout out to him. Shout out to Shayla. She's all said priceless moment, which is true, because I mean to actually witness a moment like that for a kid who's terminal to speak to another kid during a parade or an incident, and to have a real serious moment is a big deal, and that's something you can't make up.
Yeah. So he has my badge number, and
Nice.
I talked to the constable and I said, no matter where I'm at in the world when that day comes, if I'm still alive, I'm going to fly back to San Antonio because they want to have it here in San Antonio, and they have a church here that holds about 5,000 people.
Okay.
Every agency that swore him in said that they would send their honor guard team here for his funeral.
Okay.
That's going to be probably 10,000 officers.
Wow.
I was just floored by the outpouring of love in the community. Also, they're like, man, I have a guy that I work with, in the private sector, that for the company that I work for, the Black Swan Group. And man, this guy is such, he heard the story, and matter of fact, he texted me yesterday. He goes, "Hey Troy, does he need anything for Christmas?"
Wow.
And he made a donation of $10,000 to keep the program, to be able to help get him around the country to do these deals.
Wow.
So I know that his dad started a foundation, and I don't know what the name of it is. However, I'm trying to make sure that we can raise enough to get him to all 50 states. He's been sworn in by 5 or 6 states only, and that many agencies have sworn him in. So I was coming up with a strategy. I said, maybe we get the funding, or get some of these hotels and airlines to help out. But everybody and their grandmother says, somebody that got cancer or dying or something, everybody's asking for something. So I try not to do that. I try to do it on my own, give what I have. And I just want to see this young man go around to all 50 states, and once people meet him, they'll see how much of a difference maker he is.
I got you. I hope someone on here who's listening, or someone who's going to watch the replay, hears that, and they can help out too as well, and we can make that thing happen. We get it still got 45 states to go, correct?
Yes. And I got Barbara here.
Yep, she's on. There you go.
Yeah, that's my girl, man. Her and I have a lot of stories to tell. That woman is one of the smartest women I know. The other one is my wife. My wife is a retired police officer also, and man, she supports everything I do. We do everything together. When people meet us, they always say we seem like newlyweds. I laugh because I tell everybody, I said, I'm probably a 4, but I grade myself on a curve, so I gave myself a 5. I said, I know my wife's a 10, so I ain't going nowhere.
I got it. That's good. That's good. And shout out to Barbara Thomas, former guest on the show. She's the one who actually got me in connection with you. So without her, you and I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Well, I'm going to start following you, man, and I'm going to put it out to every officer that when we do the trainings, I'm going to put it out for them to start getting behind this program. I think what you're doing is phenomenal. You're making a huge difference, and don't ever stop, man. I tell you what, every little bit that we can do to change people's perceptions, and even change the mind of the officer sometimes, I'll take it.
Yeah, I appreciate the accolades. I appreciate the shout out, and right back at you. Just by having the website and the training program. Just one of my questions I was going to ask was the in 21st century policing, modern policing. How do you feel that we can engage the police department, law enforcement agencies can engage the public, and the public can engage us? And meet on a more better and challenging platform where we hear each other. But you already answered that question before I even asked it, just by the scenarios that you give. You put on live scenarios and put both of them, switch roles, and in role switching, you gain a better understanding, and gaining understanding, you gain respect, and that's what's written on all of your shirts.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. That when the officers go through it, some of them don't really want to do it at first, but the San Antonio Police Officers Association, they got behind the program, and they sponsor every officer, and every officer that go through it, they get 8 hours of what we call T-code credit, the state agency that regulates the law enforcement. They get 8 hours of T-code credit for that.
Okay.
So it helps them in their law enforcement career, but more importantly, it bridges that gap between them and the community.
Yeah.
And you know how it is. Officers going from call to call to call to call, and then they think everybody's out to get them because they're frustrated because they're answering calls that sometimes the community asks them to come out and handle it, and then they don't like the way it was handled, and it escalates. They're worried about their career, their job, their families, and I tell you guys, I want every officer that's listening to this, if you're struggling, man, get some help. Talk to somebody, let them know that, you're going through some stuff. Well, we've had 6 officers commit suicide in a matter of maybe 2 months.
Yeah, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a number.
And we're in a profession, we all know this, we're in a profession where you don't want to do that because it shows signs of weakness. If you
reach out for help.
Yeah, you reach out for help, but it's not weak. It takes a strong man to say, hey, I'm not at the top of my game, I need that help. So don't be afraid to do that. Nobody's going to look down on you. You chose a profession and a career that is sometimes thankless, but it's something that you chose.
Yeah.
But you can leave at almost every situation and realize that you changed somebody's life for the good. And we need you at the top of your game. We need you to be mentally fit. We need you to be physically fit. And we need you to be morally fit.
I like that. And that's absolutely true. I know here in Pennsylvania, and I'm pretty sure other states, I know we have a peer support system where if an officer is needing to reach out, you can reach out to someone who's actually on the job or was on the job, so you feel a little bit more safe and secure reaching out to someone who understands the process, who understands what it's like to actually live and see so much trauma and experience so many things. Like we say often on this platform, we deal with good people on their worst days, and we deal with bad people on their best days, and we're right there in the middle of that daily and constantly. So after a while, once you do this job for years and years and decades, you take in some of that stuff, and sometimes you got to find a way to unpack that book bag as you're trying to travel up that mountain so you can get to the top.
Yeah. And when I realized that there were times that I was getting that way, I'd take vacation. I get with my family, man. We take off. I had an RV, a motor coach, and we just travel. We just go out, spend the weekend, wouldn't talk about nothing work related. My kids got to see different states and have fun. I would assign each one of them a state. They had to, when we got to their state, they had to be the ambassador and tell us what was going on in their state. They couldn't eat McDonald's. We had to eat food native to the community. We ate a ton of Philly cheesesteaks, bro.
Did you enjoy those, or did they get redundant after a while?
Nah, man. I'm a Jersey boy at heart, man. I grew up in Jersey, so man, when I come back to Texas, if I flew to Jersey in the morning, there was a place that I would go to. This guy would open up at 6:00 in the morning if he knew my flight was at 8. And he'd make me 20 Philly cheesesteaks. And back then we could bring them on the plane, man. And I'd have Philly cheesesteaks in a heat jacket pocket. And I would give the flight attendant some, man. I mean that they ate good, and I mean I couldn't get no sleep on that flight because they were always asking me if I needed something. So those Philly cheesesteaks went a long way. And as soon as I got home, the family members that didn't go with me, they didn't care about me. They cared about where's the cheesesteak.
So how often did you travel while you're going from either event to event or while on the job, or we're going from training to training? Do you travel often, or is it more, does it pick up more often during, I would say, the spring and summer months?
Well, the good thing about it is the company that I work for, we're working it out right now where the cities that I go to, and I'm flying almost every week, man. The week that the Queen died, I was in London. I got a chance to talk to the officers, and they said that if we can get that young man to London, they'll make him a police officer. That's why.
Oh man, we definitely got to make that happen.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm flying almost every week, and the company that I'm working for, they're figuring out a way where we can go into these communities, stand them up, and then if I'm in that community, we can go out and do an activity with them, and the officers can get trained on it and start growing their communities. So it's no set time limit, man. I look at my calendar right now, and 2023 is getting really full.
Okay.
So I'm happy for that. And to know that this company that I work for, the Black Swan Group, has gotten behind me, and several of the people that I coach in there, they've gotten behind me. Like I said, everything happens in time. Don't be in a hurry. It's on God's time. And he's if he leads you to it, he'll see you through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's led me to it.
Good. Shout out to Shayla. She says she loves the support. She's been listening in. I appreciate that. Barbara again. She says, yes, Troy is my brother from another mother. He is awesome. And Jimmy Jamad's on here saying that this is awesome as well. And stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take for a brief break right here. Certain Be Safe has to say his 2 cents, and we will come right back. Stay tuned.
Well, you know it. The holiday season has begun. Here's a few tips that you should be aware of to stay safe. Online shopping and watch out for those fake websites that want to get your information and credit card numbers. There's scammers like Chance Wilder trying to hack into your computer. Online shopping goes up more than 50% this time of year. So keep a vigilant eye on your bank account, your computer, and any social media platform. Black Friday shopping is now here. Chance Wilder, I see you. Get out of here. If you're going out to stand in those long lines, make sure you lock your car.
That's Sergeant B.
Dress warm because it could be cold. Show the holiday spirit and be courteous to other people in line. Remember, first come, first serve. Still keep a watchful eye for problems in line. And once you finally make it inside to the store or mall, well, there's Rob You Blind. I guarantee he doesn't have the Christmas spirit. Rob You Blind is on the prowl, so be mindful of your purses, your bags, your cell phones, or any other personal items that you may sit down. And if you happen to see a crime, report it. Sergeant Be Safe, that's your tip of the day to have a safe holiday.
Party pooper, be safe.
I can't believe people are so gullible.
10-4, over and out.
Subscribe now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are in the lab with Black and Blue. We got our special guest, Troy Smith, right now. We're having a tremendous and wonderful conversation. I kind of want to change gears on the next question I'm going to ask. I've been asking this question a lot lately. Basically, after the I guess you would say the new world after this COVID thing has happened, where a lot of agencies, including law enforcement and various agencies, are going through this problem with a hiring problem and a retention problem and a quiet quitting and so many different things. How do you think we as a nation and law enforcement community should take on this challenge on finding qualified applicants, recruiting them, retaining the seasoned officers that we have? How that is a huge challenge. What would you suggest that we take on this challenge and be successful?
That's the $50,000 question right there.
No, I know.
If I had that answer, I'm sure I wouldn't be sitting here after this. I'll be having everybody donate to your channel, man. It's difficult. We all, people have been hit with something that they didn't expect.
Right.
They didn't realize the magnitude of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the country has become so divided, man. Everybody's complaining about this, complaining about this. We used to be a nation where we worked together. We could be mad at each other, but it was just like me and you. If we were brothers, you and I could be mad at each other, Clee. But if somebody outside of the family said something, we're going to rally around and protect us. I don't see that any longer. I see it's a us versus them or a me mentality. And I feel like the veteran officers have been beat down so much now. They're worried about their careers, their jobs, that they don't want to be here any longer. And one thing I found, and I was telling another officer this a couple of days ago, I said, we look at these young officers today and we said, man, they don't have a clue.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the same thing the people that came before us told us about us. So they fit in with the generation that's here now. And so we just have to trust that they're going to do things that mesh with that generation. It's a pendulum. The law enforcement swings from one side to the other. Yep. And it's doing the same thing again. We have to adapt. We have to adjust. And if we can do that, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree. Like I say, this occupation and how we are viewed is very cyclic. I remember officers came on here and spoke about the Rodney King incident, which was similar to a lot of incidents that are going on now, where we were at the very bottom of the pit of despair, you might as well say, where we were just hated. We got cussed out, we weren't liked, and eventually we get back to that medium. That's normally the home area where we're appreciated, but we're not sought out for unless we're specifically needed. And then there's times that I know I wasn't on the job at the time, but when 9/11 happened, and then coming out of that, we were at the very top. Where thank you for your service, I appreciate everything you do, and things along those lines. So it goes from one cycle to another, and it seems like we were at the very bottom, and we're slowly coming back up to at least the common medium, where it's nice to be there, but I mean, if we're not needed, then it's nice to to be seen but not heard, or to be in that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah. Yep. I talk about that in the training. I talk about how at 9/11, the country was so scared that we could actually violate people's rights, and they were okay with it because they wanted to feel protected. Then 2007, 2008 came around, and we were conditioned that we could be a little more forceful, and people were respectful and would tolerate it. And then when the stock market and the financial industry started crashing, people forgot about that. They were like, "Look, man, I don't have no pension, I don't have this, my money's gone." Excuse me. And so that affected them, and they didn't care about it. But we couldn't change.
Right.
We still had that 9/11 mentality. And so, like we said, it takes time. It's a pendulum. It'll get back to where we're respected, but we have to earn it.
Yep, absolutely.
We have to earn it. And the mental health side of it is going to be important part.
Oh yeah.
Because COVID shook up a lot of people.
Absolutely. I know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those of you who are on and watching the replay, Troy's on here. He's not feeling too well. Shout out to him for making it not robbery to the reschedule or anything. He's on here now. He's giving of himself. So therefore, I said we'd stick to about an hour. We're pretty much going over that. But however, I want to give him the opportunity where if there was something that I missed, or through the course of conversation, if there's something that he remembered that he wanted to get out there, Troy, if there's anything else that you would like to say, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, Clee, don't stop doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
I love the program. I love what you stand for, brother. Secondly, community, know that the majority of the police officers, 99% of us, are going to try to do the right thing every chance we get. Please know that the community wants you there. They don't want bad people in their community. They just want to feel like they've been heard and respected. Once you can do all of those things, we'll get back to where we really want to be, and we'll become one nation under God again.
Absolutely. Good. I like that. And like Barbara said here, I'll put it back up on the screen from our other topic. You are appreciated until the problem is solved, and then you become invisible. Absolutely.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well. Yep. Hey, Troy, I appreciate you. I definitely hope DJ, his name's DJ.
Yes, DeVar Daniels.
Yep. Gotcha. DJ. I hope he can make every 50 state and get deputized. I hope he lives a very long and prosperous life. And I think I want good things to happen. I especially want you to flourish. I enjoyed talking to you. I want to watch you and your agencies rise as well. If there's anything that we here at Black and Blue can do, feel free to don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. We'll do the best we can and make that thing happen.
Well, when we go to one of these cities that we're going to stand up. I'm going to invite you out to come and be a part of it.
Okay.
Well, maybe Absolutely. We could, do a live stream on a Thursday or something, and let the community be a part of making a difference.
Yeah,
thanks,
we'll
Clee.
Definitely make that happen. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in. We go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys tune in. We have a special guest coming to the lab next week, right after Christmas. I don't want to give it away who's going to be, but tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay safe. We love you. 10-4, over and out.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Sergeant Be Safe here, and I'm stuck in the office. I'm stuck. You want to know why? I'll be completing reports for stolen vehicles. Yeah, that's right, stolen vehicles. I tell people all the time to lock their doors and put away their valuables. However, this continues to happen. Do you know that about approximately 95% of all auto thefts can be prevented? Here, let's go for a walk and I'll show you a few examples. Example number 1. You go to the store and you leave your car running. Little do you know that Chance Wilder's on the prowl. He sees your car running with the door unlocked, gets in it,
And they're off! At the start.
Oh no!
frustrating. Let's move on to example number 2. You're at home and the car's parked for the day. But you feel safe and secure and believe this could never happen to me. And there's Rob You Blind going from car to car. Just got
Party
caught though.
pooper, be safe.
Hands up. You're coming with me. People leave their car doors unlocked, and believe it or not, their keys in them. Here's video footage of someone going onto someone's driveway and entering their car, and guess what? Stealing that too. Even if you don't keep your car key, don't keep your spouse's key in the vehicle either. Believe it or not, they park right beside you. So therefore, take the extra step, lock your vehicle, and take your keys inside. So here's a little bit of information for you. If your car is ever stolen, and then I find it and recover it, it's usually not in the same condition that it once was. It could have been involved in a motor vehicle accident because of joyriding, or just have more dents, scratches, and damage on it. You'll get an incident report and a tow bill. Your insurance company may cover the towing and recovering fee, but you could also have to come out of pocket with some extra expenses. So now let's move on to example number 3. Parking lots at major businesses are prime targets. Lock your doors, put valuables away, park in well-lit areas, and definitely do not, I cannot stress it any harder, leave your vehicle running in the parking lot. Because no matter how many times Rob You Blind and Wild Chance go to jail, they will always take advantage of a prime opportunity to take your valuables or steal your vehicle. Don't be an easy target. Hands up, you both are coming with me. These are just a few examples of how you can protect yourself and be vigilant with your property. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.